All right, everybody, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And today we're tackling something I think is on everyone's mind these days.
Definitely.
Social security numbers.
Hmm.
I mean, they're supposed to be this is like super secret code, right? The key to our identity and all that. But
Right.
with all the data breaches and hacks happening, you got to wonder, how safe are they really?
Yeah, that's a good question. And honestly, a valid concern. I
Yeah.
feel like every time you open the news, there's another story about some company getting hacked or
Yeah.
some data leak.
That's exhausting.
And what's interesting is this isn't even a new thing. Like, remember back in 2023, there was that hacker,
Oh, yeah.
US DOD. They claimed to have gotten into this massive database with tons of personal information.
Yeah, vaguely. I felt like that was a while ago.
It was, and it barely even made a dent in the news cycle. Most people didn't even notice.
That's true. I feel like we've almost become numb to it. All those kinds of stories just kind of wash over us. But then something like this whole class action lawsuit against national public data pops up, and suddenly everyone's freaking out about their social security number again.
Exactly. And this case really brings up some important questions about these data brokers.
Yeah, what are those again? Remind me?
So basically, these are companies that collect and sell our personal information,
Oh, right.
which is pretty wild when you think about it. A lot of people don't even realize these companies exist,
Definitely not.
let alone that they're building these detailed profiles on us. Like, they know everything.
Is it just like our names and addresses, or is it more than that?
It's way more. It's everything from our online activity, what we search for, what we click on,
Oh, wow.
to our physical location, even our purchasing history.
So they know like what I buy at the grocery store.
Potentially, yeah. They use this data for all sorts of things. Targeted advertising, risk assessment, even predicting our future behavior.
It's kind of creepy.
It is. It's definitely a little unsettling.
So how do these companies even get all this information in the first place?
Well, it comes from a lot of different sources. Public records, online activity, even stuff like loyalty programs, when you sign up for those discounts.
Right.
And the problem is when this data falls into the wrong hands, which is what we're worried about with these breaches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are the actual consequences? I mean, what can happen if my social security number gets out there?
Well, the big one is identity theft. Someone could use your social security number to open credit cards, take out loans, even access your medical records.
Oh, gosh, that's scary.
Yeah, it's definitely a serious issue.
So this national public data thing, it seems like it's getting a lot of attention right now, but haven't there been similar cases before with social security numbers being leaked?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It happens more often than you might think. The January 6th committee leak is a good example.
Right.
Social security numbers of politicians, high-profile individuals, they were all exposed.
So not even the government is immune.
Exactly. It highlights how vulnerable even supposedly secure systems can be.
It's almost like every time there's a breach, we freak out for a minute, and then we all just forget about it until the next one.
Yeah, I feel that it's like a collective amnesia.
Definitely. But speaking of the government, what about their role in all this? I was reading about the Department of Generating Employment.
DOGE.
Yeah, DOGE. They want to audit the Treasury and the IRS.
Yeah.
How does that play into all of this?
It's a really interesting development, and honestly, this whole pushback against the audit seems a little strange considering all the information that's come out about data security.
Why would anyone be against an audit?
Well, government audits can be pretty intense. They might involve looking at financial records, interviewing employees, and even testing for cybersecurity vulnerabilities.
So maybe some agencies aren't thrilled about having their practices exposed.
Exactly. If they haven't been prioritizing security, they might be worried about what the audit will uncover.
It makes sense. I guess no one wants to be caught with their pants down, so to speak.
Exactly. And this DOGE audit, it could be really revealing.
How so?
It could show whether these agencies are actually doing enough to protect our information.
So it could force them to step up their game when it comes to data security.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's bring it back to us, the everyday people. What can we do to protect ourselves, especially with our social security numbers being such a prime target?
The first thing is awareness. Check your credit reports regularly. Look for anything suspicious.
Like what kinds of things?
Accounts you don't recognize, subtle drops in your credit score addresses. You've never lived at any red flags like that.
Got it. And what about sharing my social security number? Should I be careful about that?
Extremely careful. Only give it out when it's absolutely necessary, and always verify who you're giving it to make sure it's legitimate.
Makes sense. Feels like we have to be our own security guards these days.
In a lot of ways, yeah, but there are also resources out there like identity theft protection services.
Right.
Those can monitor your credit and alert you to any potential threats.
That's good to know. So with all this happening, it makes you wonder, what does this mean for the future? Are we just going to be living in a world where our personal information is always at risk?
It's a big question and one we all need to think about. Maybe we need to rethink the whole system, relying on one static number like our social security number. Maybe that's not the best approach anymore.
That's a really interesting thought. Is it even possible to make a system that's completely secure?
I don't know, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Maybe DOGE will have some answers after these audits, but for now, we all need to stay vigilant and do what we can to protect ourselves.
Great advice. Thanks for breaking all this down for us.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
And for everyone listening, stay safe out there and keep those social security numbers close to the vest.
Absolutely.
We'll be back next week with another deep dive. Until then, stay informed.
And stay secure.
See you later.
Bye.